Huh? Why did I got this prompt a month late? I'm about to resub in few days.
Good evening, one and all. It is Sunday, it's the end of the week, and it's time that we jump into some more good old Warframe. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you're doing well where you are around the world today. And immediately as we get started, thank you very much, Shezbot, up onto 24 months with your Prime, although apparently, from what I'm reading there, that you're about to hit 25, is that? Well, that is a little bit of an oddity, isn't it?
Wait, this isn't a popcorn cheese.
And Kelton, thank you very much for the 18 months as well. Following along right behind Shezbot there, much appreciated to the two of you. Absolutely. Cheers. Yeah, Twitch should let you know about your resub basically, when you've had it, rather than a long while into it, Shezbot. So honestly, not sure what's going on there for you, if that is indeed how that works out. I don't really have a way to just look at your account and see when the previous resub is or was, so it do be like that is the best that I can say on that. it just do be like that. All the same, I appreciate the continued support nonetheless. You've got that lovely bronze teapot next to your name. So, as you can see, we've got Gyre up on screen here. Gyre is indeed today's focus. And very specifically is a brand new augment that was added in with the recent update, and that is Reverse Rotor Swell. Now this one, we do need to rank it up for it to give us all the value that we want. Interestingly, that rank up, am I looking at that right? Yeah, that is an interesting rank up there on a mod. A lot of mods usually have, for 3 pips, 1/4 of their value at the bottom pip, and you gain basically the entire mod's worth of value again with each pip. But in this case, it's going from 20 to 35%, which is not following the same trend. It doesn't even double the effect, fully ranking the mod there. So that is interesting, and in fact, may bear some particular fruit in how people choose to use it, because you can potentially finagle some extra a capability out of it as a result. Now, I'm just going to slot this in here with this 300% strength. Road Swell, bringing this up, damage redirection from 20% to 65%. So, particular thing I'm looking at there is, I know this has a 75% cap. Well, with this, even though the mod is down to a little over half the base value, it's not a little over half cap as well. It's well past whatever that would be, which shows that the cap isn't tied to the mod rank, it's just tied to the mod itself. So if you had a really high strength, you could go with an unranked reverse rotor swell and still get the benefits, basically. That is interesting to note. I don't think there's going to be very many builds that are going to necessarily need those extra 3 points of capacity, let alone be in a position to utilize that, but it is something to note. It at least exists. So, yeah, it's a niche capability. There, Caboobs, and waiting on Foundry things to finish up, mostly Caliban Prime. Yep, fair do. Those Foundry items do tend to take a little bit, don't they? They do tend to take a little bit. Hello, Miralabe. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, we're not going to need to mess around with that there. So let's rank that one up from 20 to 35%. Bam, boom, ba. And let's just purchase another test build. I renamed all of these tests, and no one should be going, oh, well, hang on, wait. They're all in test. They're all being tested. Okay, cool. Fuck, never mind, here we go. Why is adaptation not full rank? Okay, so there is a legit answer to that for you there. You can fully rank adaptation, and you can absolutely slap that onto various builds in various ways, where fully ranked will give you your maximum resistance just that little bit faster. The downside is that you're also spending an extra 1 or 2 mod capacity. So in some builds where that extra point does matter, you'll go for the partially ranked adaptation. This build, that is not an intended choice because this is a test build. Would Gyre go well with Crepuscular? Gyre is not invisible. So Gyre would work well with Crepuscular if Crepuscular can be triggered elsewhere, but even then I don't think the crit scaling works the way you want it to. I haven't tested fully because we're still in testing, but yeah. So, reverse sword as well. It very simply, as it says there, gives you damage redirection towards a target turned into electricity damage, and as we see on the ability card here, it also gives a status chance on that electric. But according to the wiki, because of course I had to have a look at what the wiki already knew about these, according to the wiki, this isn't true damage redirection. It's actually a damage reduction which also deals damage to opponents. You might be wondering, what is the difference? Surely that is just damage redirection. The difference is that damage reduction means that whatever layer of hit points is taking damage takes a reduced amount. Damage redirection would be the damage doesn't even get to the hit points, some chunk of it. That chunk goes somewhere else instead. So in this case, if it is indeed a damage reduction, which also has a rebuke effect rather than a redirection, things like Overguard don't work with damage reduction abilities. So it's a little bit of a difference there. Considering that Gyre doesn't typically Overguard tank, it shouldn't be the end of the world, but it is something worth noting there. The problem is testing that. The problem is indeed in the testing. Square asking redirection be like Night Assist 3. I don't know about Night Assist 3 in particular, but yeah, definitely with regards to Eurydice Merlina, where the damage never even reaches Eurydice, at least that portion, whatever's been redirected, it goes straight to Merlina. Think it like the difference between damage reduction and dodge. Dodge, a hit just never hits. So long as you hit that dodge chance, it just whoop, goes right by you, doesn't do anything. Whereas damage reduction, you specifically take the hit and then reduce the amount of damage from that hit. With regards to Overguard, not very many other things in particular, but especially Overguard, having a damage reduction doesn't apply, whereas the damage redirection does, because the damage never reached it to worry about if it can reduce damage or not. It's one of those really awkwardly niche things that most players probably won't end up worrying about, but if you're going to worry about using this augment in the first place, then that arcane bullcrap starts to sneak in on you, and you go, oh god, here we go again. Everything's an exception, and this is no exception to how everything's an exception. It's ironic, really. I'm just going to throw some mods on here just for the sake of giving this an appropriate test, so these are not intended to be long-stay mods, it is more a case of seeing the impact that we can get here. And just slap on you because it's funny. There we are. Cheers, Esprit. Okay. Yeah. Let's roll that, just to get the first testing in. Now, in terms of the first testing, the simple way of doing that is to head on down to the simulacrum real quickly. And try and get an enemy to shoot me repeatedly with the same thing. because we want to see what value we are hit with, and then compare to what it is with the ability active. So let's see what results we get. And I think in terms of doing that test, we can use a simple little butcher. Butchers are great for that kind of testing, because they just kind of swing their axe clumsily in your direction. They're machete, and it works quite well. So we grab ourselves one standard butcher. We'll give them level 40, so it's nothing too crazy, but we can still get more like 5 damage in. And I'll need to make it where they can actually attack, of course. So I'm on 650 shield hit points here. He's set to steel path, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't improve their damage. Okay. So I think I went down to 554 there. So that would indicate he dealt 96 damage. You missed, mate. There we go. Yeah, again, 96 damage. Let the shields recharge. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, it's consistent 96. That's good. Alright. This guy's going to be frustrating if I don't kill him, so... I did equip all the bits. Yes, yes, yes. Alright then. Bring him back. Now it was... Which ability is on the 4th, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that could be problematic. That could indeed be problematic to the test here. Okay. New plan. That did not turn off the ability, that recast it. Okay. Let's take a slightly different approach here. Let's not go with that butcher. Let's go with, I can spell, a Butcher Xmas, and let's give it a few more hit points. Let's make it level 100. So now it can't be CC'd, and it should have a lot more tank to it. Okay, we didn't need it to be a Jade Xmas, but Jade is what we get. Go on, start your beam. There we go. Alright then, cool. So 650 becomes 341. So I lost 309 hit points there. Let's confirm 341 again, please. Wonderful. Yep, that is nice and consistent. We'll let our shields regenerate. Here we go. Get rid of that. Five, 7, 3. And again, please. Missed. 5, 7, 3. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. The 5, 7, 3 instead of what was it? 3, 4, 1. I want to say. Let's have the 4 run out. 5, 7, 3 instead of 3, 4, 1. Cool, cool, cool. So we took 309 damage without the ability active, 77 with it active. Very simply, we took 25% damage. Good, that is working as expected so far. That is nice. We like it when things work as expected. So now, let's bring in a new one of these guys. Let's grab an art gun, so as to activate a whole bunch of overguard. And that one's going to be slightly more frustrating to test with, but let's go. 1382. There we go. Let's just kill that guy real quick. So we've gone down to 1382 overguard from 2000. Which, yep, 618 damage taken. That's twice the shield damage, which is good because shields are supposed to have a 50% damage reduction. So far so good. Everything is lining up as expected. So lastly, we now need to bring in this guy. We need to dodge that blitz effect. There we go. Let's activate the buff. And let's see then. Went down to 764. Okay. Oopsies. 1382 minus. I'm trying to dodge whilst doing math. Yes, that is indicating no damage reduction applied. And again, yeah. No damage reduction happening there. Cool. So at the very least, the wiki was correct about that, unfortunately. Also, still got the fire beam on the Mandanel, which is nifty. Okay. So at the very least, we do have that now. We do know that it is indeed a damage redirection effect. That is actually composed of a damage reduction and a damage rebuke or damage copy effect. It's not straight redirection. We still take the full amount of damage and then reduce it, as opposed to just receiving a lower amount in the first place. Which, fair enough. It just means that Overguard is weaker with the augments than one would otherwise hope. I presume it also means then that things like adaptation should still multiply with it as normal. But yeah. Now, 75% damage reduction. Pretty nifty. It's not the best, but it is pretty nifty. Question is, though, if I have a look at Merlina, wasn't that one buffed from 75 to 90%? Specifically because 75% ain't that great? Yes, indeed, it's a 90%. Yeah, I was remembering correctly on that buff. So, there is that significant downside there. You've got a 22% status chance on the reflected damage, but I mean, you're also already applying electric procs from just Rotor-Swell doing Rotor-Swell things, so that's not a huge sell. Okay. I previously had this setup here, this one with an adaptation on the build. I don't even know why the adaptation is there, if I'm very honest with you. I guess to try and make the pillage hit points last that bit longer. I guess. Having a bit of a reliance on a pillage approach. On pillage hit points rather than shield gating all the time. Which, you know, I mean, it works. But yeah, Meljade, that is kind of what I'm thinking, is that Reverse Rotor-Swell, 75% damage reduction, as is the cap on it. It is a tank increase. And yeah, as Innocuous Milk points out, it can be worth more than adaptation, actually, in certain circumstances, because in those certain circumstances, adaptation either doesn't stack up in the first place, or when it does stack up, it doesn't stack up to adequately cover the amount of damage incoming. So you don't end up on 90% damage reduction, you end up on functionally a far lower value. You certainly have no tank against the first hit, which is very bad against suddenly Blitz Xmas, suddenly Bombard, suddenly Toxin damage, that sort of thing. Suddenly Toxin damage wouldn't be quite so well handled by Reverse Rotor-Swell, because it's still going to get through your shields, by virtue of being Toxin, and then you're basically just dead anyway. Juxay, I have a question. Is there any reason to use the Epitaph Primer over the Compressor Prime? Yes, when you want to have the AoE effects of the Epitaph, rather than the spread bubble effect of the Compressor. They are different weapons in their application. Don't forget the Epitaph also has guaranteed cold procs on top of whatever status it's delivering, which I believe the Compressor has none of the sort. Yeah, it doesn't need build upon us. You're absolutely right there, Happy Hour. That's what I was referencing with the whole suddenly Blitz Xmas thing, because you don't need to stack up your defense against it with this, it's just there. I'm assuming, Jinx, you're saying no, it doesn't to Compressor damage types. It has viral? Yeah. Doesn't have guaranteed viral, it just has an A viral. So you're comparing one high status weapon to another, where the only thing they have in common is that they're high status secondaries. That's all there is to it. Beyond that point, the reason to use one over the other is because one of them is different to the other. And those differences are the reason. I did say if cathode current was based on kit, I could maybe see a mod having space for Rotor-Swell. Let's remind myself on this one. Eliminating enemy whilst that is active. We'll release additional discharge from this. And extended duration by the same amount. Yeah. So just whatever you prefer? Very much so, Jinx, yes. When you're comparing between two weapons and you can't really tell if there's a difference between the two weapons for your use case, like you're not going from this one works and this one doesn't work, if they both get the job done, then the answer is use the one you like. Claytalk say, hey, can you explain shield gating? I'm trying to get into the game, not sure what shield gating is worth it or not. Shield gating matters more the higher level gameplay you're involved in. So shield gate is when your shields break, as it says on here, on shield break become invulnerable for an amount of time. The amount of time is dependent on the amount of maximum shields you reached since your last shield break. So in this case, because I have 650 maximum shields, I would, at standard, have a 1.8 second shield gate duration. During that time, any damage that would hit shields is instead completely negated, you just don't take the damage. It hits you, and then that's that. I think you possibly have just been shoved into a ad break right now, so let me know if you're still with us and I can continue on that answer. Okay, so what would be the real use case on this? Jinx, cheers. Miralabe, thank you very much for the gifted sub directly over to Claytonks there. Just as they complain about an ad, no less. Yep. Just as they complain on that. Thank you very much for the gifted sub there, Miralabe. Claytonks, make sure you say thanks to Miralabe to that. Actually, once you're back from the ad, you can say it. Frony, there's a whole bunch of Super game content as any possible shield gate. Yeah, I was going to get onto that, it's fine. Outside, halfway through the shield gating explanation, it's fine. I saw the pop-up saying, hey, ads are being served at the moment. So I believe what you should have last heard was me pointing to this, and I get a 1.8 second duration based on having 650 maximum shields. If I start regenerating shields, then the max amount of shields I get to is going to dictate the next shield gate duration I have. So if I only get to 50 shields, it's going to be a lot lower. If I get all the way back to 650, I get all the way back up to 1.8 seconds. All feels good on that side. So how do people survive through shield gating? Because let's face it, if you run out of shields, you get 1.8 seconds of invulnerability. That's cute. But what about, you know, actually not dying? And that comes in a few different forms. One of those forms is to just stack shield recharge delay reduction. So the amount of time it takes for your shields to start recharging, if you hit 0 shields, is usually, I believe, 4 seconds. But with a bunch of mods, you can bring that right the way down. And so that there's only a short window of time between shield gate running out and shields start recovering to create a new shield gate. But you still need to dodge during that time. A more powerful and more reliable version is to forcibly regain shields after having lost to shields. So for example, uses of the mods like the Augur set or the Aura mod Brief Respite, upon using energy to cast your abilities, you gain shield hit points. And because you've gained shield hit points, you have a shield gate again, so that when you next take damage, you become invulnerable again, giving you time to once again cast an ability to give you shield hit points to become invulnerable, and there is your loop. The reason this is better at higher levels is because in high level gameplay, the amount of damage increases, but the shield gate immunity remains 100%. So if you were to get to level 9,999 and something is trying to shoot you for 1 million damage or whatever, it'll go through all 650 of my shields here, hit my shield gate, and stop. And then I just recover some shields, it hits me for another 1 million damage, I still don't die. Because a single shield hit point is enough to survive any attack that isn't toxin. And that's how shield gating works for people. Styanax asking, how can people use catalyzing shields? What's the way you play with that on? Is it just because you get constant inform? Or you don't get constant? No. Shield gating cannot give you constant. You need to do something else. Excuse me. With catalyzing shields here, it says 1.33 second full shield gate immunity duration. What it actually does is it gives you 1.33 seconds shield gate immunity duration. The word full is incorrect and doesn't apply. So you lose a huge chunk of your maximum shields, but it means then, regardless of how low your shields go, you will still always have 1.33 seconds of a shield gate whenever it triggers. To give you an alternative on that, if I go... I think Loki has some really low shields. Yeah. Not appearance. So here I've got 280 shields on Loki, so the shield gate is all the way down to 1.2 seconds. I think it can get lower still on some frames here or there, but not counting the zeros, of course. Not counting the zeros. Now, the way catalyzing shields is kind of supposed to work is that by reducing the maximum shields you have, it is easier to get to the full shield capacity where the 1.33 second duration would kick into its fullest. But that doesn't really exist. It was based on an old weird interaction where people would intentionally reduce their shields down via another means to make it where they could fully recharge their shields and get maximum shield gate, when it used to just work a different way. But it doesn't work that way anymore. So it's not worth going into. And Grendel gets reload shields. That indeed. Got 95 here. So yeah, Grendel's got a 0.8 second shield gate. If I... We'll break this one temporarily. No, we'll break this one temporarily. It's fine. So yeah, if I grab that catalyzing shields mod, we see currently 0.8 seconds. If I slap this over Vitality... Even over Vitality doesn't fit? Okay, fine, whatever. If I slap this over Vitality, this goes away. We see now the shields come down to 19, but the shield gate is 1.3 seconds. So therein is the use case of catalyzing shields. Lower max shields, guaranteed shield gate of 1.3. So yeah. So it's asking, wouldn't it be better to go for 1.2k shields to go for that 2.5 seconds to be able to reach it relatively easily? I mean, if you can reach it. How are you going to gain 1,200 shield hit points within a second or two of running out of shields? If you say you're going to use a massive shield restoration ability, sure, alright, so you don't need it. The vast majority of frames and setups do not have room for a every second, at any moment you need it, just snap your fingers and bam, 1,200 shields. Most of the time you're not going to get that kind of buff available to you. Even restoring a fraction of that is a pain in the ass a lot of the time. But to be honest, catalyzing shields doesn't have the biggest use case because 1.3 seconds or 0.3 seconds, you're still looking at... Actually, it's 0.8 on even that low shield... what do you call it? Low shield Grendel there, so whatever way you shake it up, you're probably still going to end up with a decent shield gate compared to catalyzing shields. It's tough to make cat shields really matter. But yeah, that's the overall rundown on that there. Also, in all of that, I think we had a request for a 2035-ing. Yep, there it is, buried right next to their watch streak. There we go, okay. There we are. Alrighty. Claytel says, so what mod will be useful for shield gating? I mean, among the mods I just said, you've got the Auger set. There's 4 of them for your frame. And then there's 2 of them for your secondary weapon. Not all of them are made equal. But what they do is, for each one that you have somewhere within your loadout, when you spend energy on your abilities, a chunk of that energy also is applied to your shields. So if you had just the one Auger mod, you spent 100 energy, you gain 40 shields. And then similarly is the Aura mod Brief Respite. It's not part of the set, but it does the same job, except Auger mods can give you overshields, Brief Respite cannot. It's as simple as that. Outside of those two, that's basically it when it comes to shield gating, and that's part of what makes it so effective, is that you just need one of those mods, and now you can refresh at least a portion of your shields just by casting abilities. So if you're playing a cast heavy frame, you're great. Flo says, is there a particular reason for the 88888888 spanner redeem for picking the game exists? Because I thought of it and so I made it. I just felt like it, that's all. It's 8 8s because I was curious how big a number you could put into Twitch's system there. And it turns out that there isn't really a limit worth noting, so I put it just as wide as the box itself, at least on my UI, which happens to be 8 digits. Jig says there's also shield recharge delayed mods. There are, but those are not as useful for shield gating, and I did mention those earlier as well, as just a general category of stuff. I don't really want to focus too much on shield gating right now. I was wrapping up that point there, though. But yeah. So, Gyre. With the reverse rotor swell, I'm going to be quite honest, I don't really play Gyre. If I'm very honest about it. I mean, when was the last time you've seen me play Gyre on stream? It was probably when I was researching the video for Gyre. So, I don't really play Gyre, and whenever I do play Gyre, I play Gyre with a pillage setup. Because, quite frankly, be able to just generate a shit ton of shields while stripping armor in a way that has a pretty damn good radius on it, in combination with corrosive projection, we perfectly lined up the drain there to allow Gyre to then use the rest of her kit pretty damn powerfully. It just feels like the correct way to go. There's your apple. So, I'm just trying to figure, do we swap out adaptation for reverse road as well? I guess, probably. I'd need to polarize the slot. Oh, actually, no, I might have enough. Oh yeah, I've got enough capacity to just shove it on there, yeah. So we could swap out 90% maximum damage reduction for a guaranteed 75%, which also has a chance to electric proc the enemies which are causing me problems. There you are. Flo asks also, usually anything that relies on enemy damage with no positive scaling tends to be kind of ass, doesn't it? Oh yeah, the reflect damage might as well not exist. Especially considering this is an ability that's already dealing damage around itself. It's pretty bad. Nokia saying it'll probably be great for the eventual Gyre Accolade boss fight. Would it? I guess if you just want to screw in some more hit point tanks somewhere somehow, I guess. Because yeah, pillage does tend to not work at that point. You strip them, they're done. Yeah, I think just on my general go-to Gyre, because I'm going for pillage hit points, adaptation to make those hit points last longer is basically it. It's been a while since this has happened. Xtix! You didn't read the Yo DJ. It's not, you can pick literally anything you damn well please, sorry. So you can change the background music. Choices are specifically those genres, because those are the playlists I have, which I'm happy to have on stream, and also are approved for basically not getting copyright struck. So what you're requesting there is long distance calling old love, which honestly sounds more like I'm getting a phone call from one of my exes who moved out of the country, which currently I think is 0 of them, but honestly I don't keep enough of a track of exes for various reasons. But no, you're asking for a very specific copyrighted bit of music from 2021. So that would get the stream struck. Yeah. If you want to listen to that, I recommend that you open up your favorite music streaming service. But for the rock playlist, yeah, we can shove on the rock playlist for now. Absolutely. Or shove on the instrumental one. There we go. Yeah, we respect copyright on this channel because the alternative gets very bad very quick. You try Googling to figure out how this works and find anything useful? I mean, you can always ask a question. When it comes to someone's stream, hey, Mr. Streamer, you have this button, but I don't understand it. You're welcome to ask. It's like, if you look at the time out yourself button and you wonder, Mr. Streamer, does this really time me out? The answer is yes. Yes, it does. Don't do a Warframe. Oh, it's still hilarious to me that DZac did that. Still hilarious. Okay, Reverse Road as well. Just swapping out adaptation for it. Let's just take it into a mission and see how it feels. I've never been a huge fan of Gyre in the first place, I'll be quite honest. But we're going to give it a whirl, see how it feels. I'm going to grab the Technical Action because Technical Action does seem to do quite well with the enemies. Don't really have any tank anymore. It is currently set up for Corrosive Cold. I suppose we can get away with not doing Corrosive. Do I swap it for gas? I mean, I don't swap it for radiation, so yeah. Let's do a gas cold approach. Give that a whirl. And just equip a random standard melee and standard defensive companion. You've had a ton of fun running Vidaria Prime on Gyre? There, do. I could see the theme there, absolutely. Gas electric to play into Gyre's team? No, gas cold. Because primary frostbite is on the weapon. Gyre can handle the electric side of stuff. And you know what, let's take Gyre over to the Zaraman. Who doesn't love a good Zaraman run? We've got a good old exterminate over there. Let's just give it a quick whirly whirls. Good question from Mirrorlade about can the reflection from the fort proc secondary fortifier? We'll have to have a look into that on the next run. Yeah. But first from XMeJing saying, can't you separate your audio tracks on OBS and the music isn't in the VOD? Either way, it's not like there's long periods of silence, which is the reason I hear other streamers so much do it. So you can separate them. That doesn't actually get around it. It just means it's not in the VOD. Congratulations, you've not put it in the VOD, but a streamer who plays copyrighted music on stream is actively playing copyrighted music on stream. If the streamer believes that they can get away with doing that, they are incorrect. The only reason, and I have this on extremely good authority, the only reason that streamers aren't being hit en masse by that kind of thing at the moment is because the music companies simply haven't wisened up to if it's worth it. Yeah. As soon as they feel it's worth it, they will just set up their systems and do a big old swipe at once. And streams that think that they can get away with even talking over it and voiding a detection, even the basic song detection I have built into my web browser can pick up copyrighted music like that most of the time. So if something I have access to, a very simple and free tool can go, oh yeah, that's this particular track from this particular artist, which means it's also owned by this publisher. You know the publishing companies have that as well. When it comes to various platforms like Twitch or YouTube, what they really are doing most of the time is minimum amounts they can get away with to just get the record labels off their own backs and then leave the rest up to the creators themselves. If record label decides to swing their dick in your direction, well, use protection. Basically. Alright. Do I have enough starting energy to actually cast everything I need to... Oh, well, Steadfast happened. So I'm good. And they all died. Okay. Gyre go burr. Yeah. Gyre go burr. We love to see it. Yeah, the whole copyright, music streaming, yada yada crap. A lot of people play loose and fast with the rules, and usually when you see people playing loose and fast with the rules, it is a matter of selective or limited enforcement. It's not because they're allowed to do it, it's because they haven't yet been told, or rather shown, they're doing it is going to lead to problems. So they think they're okay. They are not in fact okay. We'll just not to be hurt by you, thank you very much. There we are. So far tanking just fine, which is always good to see. Is it okay to Warframe streamers you interact with a lot? You said that. I don't want them. Sorry, okay, let me try read. Is it okay, Astinks, that I tell the Warframe streamers that I interact with a lot that you've said that I don't want them to be affected by it if it does happen? I mean, I wouldn't raise it during their stream, quite frankly. If someone were to pop into my stream and go, actually, Mr. Streamer, what you're doing is against the law and you could be sued, that's the way they're going to read it. I can almost guarantee you that. Especially because how many streamers do you think have never heard of a copyright? If you want to raise it to them privately, at a, dare I say, more appropriate time, just remind them that, hey, you know, using music live, it's still copyrighted, you can do so. But again, unless they seem to be questioning it themselves, I wonder what you're going to achieve with it. Because again, how many live streamers haven't heard of, at the very least, the concept of copyright? And the ones who think just removing it from the VOD is enough because there's a feature in OBS are people who are either willfully ignorant or they're just banking on limited enforcement. So they'll take the warning and then go, cool, yeah, thanks, whatever. Yeah. I dare say at this point, basically no one actually in the streaming space is clueless about how copyright works. If they're using copyrighted music, they're doing so knowing that they are at risk, and they have assessed that risk to be low enough that they don't care. I have assessed otherwise. From Zillion, excuse me, Mr. Streamer, can I ask if there's any aviators in any of the album choices, just so I know if I should sink a ridiculous amount of spanners into music RNG? Aviators. Is this some band I'm not familiar with? All of the music we have here is actually from Streambeats, which is a series of playlists specifically made to be not only royalty-free, completely safe for use on streams. I have the necessary licenses from them for that. So if Aviator is some band, the answer is no. Worms down? Damn it, the one thing I didn't think to tank, my companion. How foolish of me. My hubris will doom us all. Wow, that's a lot of enemies in one spot. And Misery hath spawned. Alright, well, Misery, let's see what you make of this miserable situation. Misery died. What all have we tested so far? Exclamation mark goal, Cat Centaur. Exclamation mark goal.
Mark this one down as a net loss. Corpus Force is retreating. You did good.
Hey, we are indeed good here. So, yeah, the tank held up here. Don't know if it needs more, but it held up at least at this testing mission. Let's quickly check out into secondary fortifier interaction, and we'll take it from there.
Very good.
As long as it's not violence, good to Gyre? I mean, yeah. It doesn't matter what ornament you're going to get. Gyre needs to have abilities up, so if violence turns up, move away and shoot the motherfucker. Blipate asking, aside from Worm, are there any practical reasons to use Prime Sentinels over regular? I mean, why were you singling out even Worm at this point? So, with Worm Prime, and then I think Nautilus, no, Shade, no. Hang on, wait, it's not all. No, yeah. I could have sworn there was another Prime Sentinel that had enough shields to meet a particular threshold for shields. I think Nautilus does get high enough, but let me check. Yeah, calculated redirection does get it there just about. So, not that I actually have it on at the moment. Reinforced Bond, if the companion exceeds 1,200 max shields or over shields, then your fire rate is increased. So by having the Prime upgrade for Nautilus here, we hit that threshold, whereas I believe normal Nautilus does not. No, it's got lower shields. So yeah. It is pretty much that. Outside of that, you do get stat buffs between the primes. So if I have a look at Carrier here, Carrier Prime has more max health, has more shields, has more armor, so it does more for it. And I think they come with innate polarity differences, but I'm not certain on that last bit. So I'm actually going to check the wiki. Let's see. Innate polarity is normal Carrier, 4 Pinjagas, and a D polarity. On the Prime, it is 4 Pinjagas, a V, and a D. So yeah, it effectively is a built-in former. And the Prime is shiny. You're very right, you did. The Prime is shiny. So yeah. Not a lot of difference, but there is enough of one on a couple of them, yeah. Also, you get mastery. So if you're thinking around, ooh, is it worth buying the bits and pieces? I mean, make the bar go up, I guess. That's always nice. Yeah, Center, I put the order in gold. I also put it in the title because I was guaranteed to get people asking, oh, which ones have we already done? Ken, what's going on? What did I miss? It's also why the bot responds to the very literal phrase, what did I miss? Because of how many times people were asking it. Like a live stream was all about repeating what one had just done. So, I just put it in the bot details to make it easier. Thank you, Squirbo, for demonstrating. As ever. Okay, so let's swap this over to secondary fortifier and just do a quick little testarinos on that redirection, as Mirrorlave suggested. Curious to see if it works. If it does, it's not going to be meta-defining, especially because your tank bonus doesn't even apply to Overguard. So each Overguard hit point is 8 times weaker than shields innately with this setup, but we'll see. Yeah, Zendor. Oh, if in doubt, with these streams, check the title. I know a lot of streamers, they use titles as just word vomit, but I tend to try to make my titles and go live announcement over on Discord and the goal command all actually useful things, because let's face it, what is this stream about, this community about, if not being goddamn practical? So I want you to feel like you're going to get the information you're looking for at all times. Alright, let's activate this, and let's see if we generate Overguard. Oh, let's get rid of that. There we go. Alright, gun away. Well, I'm not seeing any Overguard happening. Even if I switch gun? Even if I switch gun. And just to verify I did equip the correct thing. Bam, Overguard. Instant. There you are. That interaction does not happen, Mirrorlab. God knows if the others still do, because of how bug fixes go, but that one certainly does not happen. From Cabo, quick question. What weapons would you say are the best high crit single shot weapons? high crit single shots, you're probably looking at either sniper rifles, look for the just highest meta in that regard. Yeah, slow firing things like the Lex Prime, or Lex Prime Incarnon in particular. You can have a look at some of your bows as well, so say the Nataruk, the Paris Incarnon, Dread Incarnon, that sort of thing. Thank you, yeah. There's quite a few, so there's not really a single answer.
Help our cause.
I've run out of tea and only have coffee next to me, and I'm too lazy to go downstairs and get more tea. What can I do now?
It sounds like you can drink coffee, Mirrorlay. Thank you very much for the £10 tip there, and the surprisingly loud notification in my ear. It's not why the volume on that one felt different today, but it just did. Cheers. We'll test see if we generate Overguard, and then if it works on Overguard. Yeah, we all need the test of does it work on Overguard earlier on. The answer is no. Verified 100%. Do people use the Paris Incarnon? I'm sure some people do. Let me ask all people a moment. Dear all humanity. Ah, shit, I can't at everyone on Earth. Okay. But yeah, some people definitely use it. If there is a thing in this game, there is someone somewhere using it. Not necessarily for the best, Stug, but they're using it. Okay. So what other interaction could possibly exist with reverse rotor swell here that we'd actually need to give a damn about? The damage reduction only applies to shields and health. The status output from it is tied to strength, 10% multiplied by strength. Can't say it really matters to me. Because yeah, it's occasional stun effect, but then if they could get stunned, they could get stunned by just your 4 happening anyway. The damage reflection from enemies sucks. Because as ever in Warframe, the damage enemies deal to themselves is basically shit all. I guess there's still the question of just how much damage is redirected. Is it actually that 75%? Let's do a quick armor strip. Actually, I don't need to do an armor strip check. I can just check against the Overguard hit. On that Xmas Butcher again.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in
could its electric status effects activate melee influence? I'll equip a influence melee. Actually, wait, I don't need to. I already did have an influence melee equipped, and nothing happened the entire time, did it? We'll have a look. Also, shards on Gyre. Not finished, so don't take them as gospel. Yeah, they're just little bits of things here or there. I think the strength shard is to hit a breakpoint for the... In fact, it definitely is a breakpoint on the strength, but the rest of it is just kind of there. Don't think about it too much. Okay, Butcher Xmas. Come at me, brah. If we activate this, we're looking for the ability damage from... Reflect... Ow? Huh, interestingly. The heat proc is being reflected to him and stacked up a bunch of electric procs as a result. That's cute. Okay, 650, go ahead. I didn't see the one there. Oh, bollocks, that again. I was looking at the hit points, damn it. We'll wait for that heat proc to stop ticking. There we go. 603 hit him directly there. 603. And how much damage am I tanking? Go on, you want to use your boost again? There it is. The 603 was a reflect, but how much are you actually hitting me for? 573 down from 650. Yeah, 77, but he... Wait. 77 damage taken, but how much damage was he taking? 603? That's not right. That's not right at all. Because when I don't have the ability active, he's not hitting me for 603 damage. He's hitting me for substantially less than 603. Oh, can we not? I'm getting a different Xmas. Or I can accidentally just dash past that. That's me being bad at the game. So why did it deal that much damage? Unless... oh wait, yeah. This is having some effect, right? Gain ability damage on enemies affected by electric status. Okay, so that would be applying a 30% buff there. Fair enough. Let's run this all together. So 77 damage taken by me. So he should take 3 times as much straight up from damage redirection. Times 2 because I've got the shields resisting 50%. And then times 1.3 from these shards. That comes to 600.6 damage. And I guess rounding error handles the rest. I'll stop with the random ass ability to deal damage. We'll just wait for that to time out. There we go. Okay, swing at me. Yeah, 603. So it's within rounding error. Okay. Does Gyre's passive count in? It doesn't appear to be critting, so the passive shouldn't apply. Abilities have a 10% chance of doing crit damage for each electric status on the enemy. I haven't seen the reflect crit yet, but I could just not be noticing because there's a lot of damage numbers at once. What is that one? Blitz. We can dodge Blitz. Dodge. Alright then, come on. 603, 603, 603, 603, 603, 603. Dodge. Resume. 603, 603. Yeah, with 10 procs, it's definitely not critting. Which is kind of sad when you think about it, that, you know, Gyre's got this passive here. This passive ability that says abilities have a 10% chance of dealing crit damage. It just wasn't critting. That is worth noting there. So it's another bit of damage potential scaling that's just not happening because. But yeah, so we reduced the damage we receive by 75% here. But even on flat shields, which have a built-in 50% reduction, they're taking effectively 3 times the damage we take as a result of Rotor Swell, times 2 again from shield damage reduction. If you had any further damage reduction, it'll be a functional times again, and so on. The problem is, that's only comparing to us. That is comparing to how much damage we are not taking, whereas it's not actually buffing up the amount of damage they take. So it's still enemy on enemy damage, which without multipliers sucks. Do we know if that's a bug or intended? The answer is... If I open up the patch notes from DE, this is the problem with patch notes from DE. They contain a hell of a lot of information, and at the same time they don't contain the information. So here is the entire information they have given us about the new Warframe Augment bot for Gyre. Rotor Swell Augment. 35% of damage received is redirected towards the instigator as electricity damage. Available in the Arbiter's Hexes and the Parent Sequence offerings. And that's it. That is every single detail they have given us. At least they're consistent in doing that. But yeah. They didn't even mention the status chance. We just see that here. It says redirection, or is redirected at. But we know that it's not quite redirection, it's more of a reflection. Ish. The lack of keywording once again strikes in Warframe. You can't just read the mod to know what the mod does. Yeah. Maybe need to hold the melee for it to proc influence from the augment. Okay, let's have a ganders at that, I suppose. Let's just triple check that has definitely got influence on it. Of course it has, it's the goddamn Zorus. Hold melee out so it can't go anywhere. Activate this. Run over to the idiot and let's just see. Oh, it's a Leech Eximus. Alright, go ahead. I'm still here. Yeah. Gonna move out of that zone. And I think we can be pretty certain this dude is not gonna let me proc melee influence like that. He's also now struggling to survive. Either that's or he's doing a good job of a thriller impression. Oh, ability ran out. I took like all of the damage there. Yeah, I basically got this guy stun locked now. And no influence. Come on, you can do it. Swing, swing, swing. No, not use your ability without any animation to cast it whatsoever. Swing. Swing. You can do it. Come on. The electric procs aren't that bad. You can do it. He can't do it.
Here we are.
Let's just do this. And that instantly procs influence, guaranteeing it's there. Dark Wolf, thank you very much for dropping your prime over here, up onto 2 whole years of support. Much appreciated. Thank you very much on that, Dark Wolf. Do I plan to test Conductive Sphere? No. No, I do not. Not today. So, all told, we've narrowed down pretty much everything I can think of to narrow down on this, at least. So, doesn't proc my influence, doesn't proc secondary fortifier, which is as expected in both cases. The damage reduction cap on it doesn't care about mod rank, which is curious, because this is unranked at 20%. So, if you had 350% strength, which we're not far from, if you had 350% strength, you could indeed apply this unranked. Now, you don't really need to. If you've got the capacity, you've got the capacity. But if you are short of that little bit of capacity, you could do that there. In terms of modding and options, anything else to swap out, this is replace adaptation. If you wanted more tank, you could put adaptation back in, but you'd be costing yourself something along here, and I'm not sure what I would want to pay for that, I'd be quite honest with you. We need all the strength to hit the full strip breakpoint for pillage. Duration is a big damn deal for just keeping everything running and feeling nice, and the range on pillage. Stretch gives us range on our other abilities, which is definitely nice to have, especially in regards to Rotoswell. So there's not really any wiggle room to do something else to slot in adaptation, so I guess it's just a flat replacement on this build for me. Easy peasy. Does it change Gyre? No. This doesn't change Gyre. Because there are no weird or special interactions, nothing planned as an interaction, all we're getting are more electric procs on an ability that's already generating electric procs like they're going out of fashion. I just don't see what this augment does if you're doing anything other than an adaptation-based build. If you're running a shield gating build, if you're running a invis build, there's just no point to it. Not that I can see. And if you were to try and invest into that reflection damage, let's be real, the enemies are going to be dead by the time you figure out how to make it do enough. So yeah, I think that that sums up Reverse Rotoswell. Nothing else to look at there. So next on the list is Styanax's one. Styanax's one is going to be even quicker to look at. We previously looked at this one, but I want to see if there is something somewhere, somehow, that some maybe can make it somewhat worthwhile. Maybe. So the new augment, for those of you who missed it, is Tharos Lethality. And I gotta say, I do not have high hopes for this. Tharos Lethality. Tharos Strike Augment. Increase critical damage by 100% on enemies you hit. Critical damage bonus is doubled for spear guns. And further to that, it is a subsumable ability, so everyone can benefit from this. Problem number 1. Spear guns. I don't care that it's Styanax's thing, spear guns suck for damage. They're just not it. Like, of all the things you could try to use a spear gun for, damage is not the one. D have had the opportunity to add spear guns that do enough damage to be worth it. They've had the opportunity to edit the existing spear guns. They have chosen to do none of that. And so we got this. Multitasking, wouldn't it be good on Gyre though? So potentially, if that crit damage bonus carried over, and you're in a situation where you could use a Tharo Strike Subsume instead of using something like Pillage. So if you have room in your build to add in another Augment to Gyre's already Augment-filled setup, to then also have Tharo Strike as part of your build, and assuming the crit damage even worked, then yes. I gotta say that's yeah, it's a bit oof. That's a lot of if right there, and I don't see that working out in your favour. Because the further issue with Tharos lethality is that it only affects the enemies that are immediately next to you. So let's just give this a quick little bomberinos, and we're going to grab the Tenora for this. Nice lovely little testing weapon. Rarely goes wrong for me. Just remind me of Styanax passive. Is that going to get in the way of what I'm trying to do here? Increase crit chance with his shields. Oh, that's going to get in the way. How many shields do I have? 925. So what bonus does that give? 23%. Okay. We'll take that into account here on the testing setup. So I need to get this to 77? Yeah, 77 crit chance. Oh wait, no, I want this one to be 77. So it's starting at 40, so I need a small increase. That'll have me just a little bit low. Can I get a teeny tiny bit more in? Can't stack those together, of course not. I knew that. Let's see. Oh, we need less than 150. I'm just gonna... How much does one mod give? 10%. Yeah, let's give this 3 pips. What? There is no unranked point strike on Tenora Prime Config A. The fuck you on about, game? Motherfucker! This game, I swear. Okay, so anyway, this gives us now a nice simple 3 times crit damage, 80% crit chance, which when combined with Styanax's ability here, should bring us to 103. I think that's how that works. I think. So that'll allow us to reliably test out the benefits we're getting here. So now let's grab an enemy to shoot. So first of all, we'll shoot them into the overguard without having given it the bonus. 692, 692, 692, 692. Very, very standard stuff. Cool. And then we do that. 1384. It went up 100%. It doubled. Huzzah! It works, right? Well. Now we're going to do something very upsetting. This is what it said on the wiki. I'm trusting it. Vital Sense. And let's just get a new enemy. Didn't mean to jump like that, whatever. So, without the buff, 1522. With the buff, 2214. You might notice that that is not a 100% increase. At least, it's not double. 1522. 2214. That is an increase, an actual increase of 45.5%. Because it's additive. It is additive to critical damage bonuses like Vital Sense. Which... Did the music stop? Music stopped. I'll tell it to start again. There we are. The works on base crit damage of weapon? Correct, yeah. It's additive to things like Vital Sense. So if you've already got a bunch of crit damage bonus, it's not going to give you that much more. Now, I do once again expect this to be scaled with strength, so if I do that, yep, the crit damage goes up with your strength there. So I think Styanax builds typically want to have in about the 200 to 250% strength range, because at that point you're at the defense reduction cap, soft cap. You can go higher if you wish, but it does limit the actual effectiveness you're going to get on your crit damage bonus. And not to forget my other issue with it. You're taking up an augment slot to give yourself this extra crit damage. Let me just... There we are. To give yourself this extra crit damage. Now, if you've got an actual proper build on your weapon, were you in a situation where you needed to have that extra crit? Was it that crucial? You're already armor stripping them, shield stripping them if they have shields to strip as well. Giving them a little bit of a stagger, sure, but at that point, like, they should be dead. You've removed their defenses. Do you need that crit? I have to wonder. It feels like a win more augment. That is, you're already winning, just put extra win onto your win. I just can't get excited about that. It doesn't fundamentally change anything. It doesn't give us crits where we didn't have them. It's only enhancing the crits we already have. It's not ultimately changing what the ability does. The ability takes it where targeted enemies will receive more damage from us. And this gives us more damage to deal to the targeted enemies, so targeted enemies receive more damage from us. That's not exactly doing anything. It's just making the number higher. So, if you've got room in your Styanax build to make the number higher, I guess make the number higher. Yeah. Hawks is saying, would it work on abilities that can crit? Okay, so Styanax doesn't really have any abilities that can crit in the first place, so we'd need to put it somewhere else, and we'd need to find those abilities to see if we can get the value out of them. I guess you could be looking at things like Noko, but Noko does enough damage already, so we don't need to do that with them. So yeah, I guess it does come back to someone like Gyre, and that's about it. I think it does just come back to Gyre, who is too busy using Pillage because Pillage is just, well, better. It does the defense strip and also gives Gyre an actual form of tank. Does not work for Spore Spring. Interesting. Remember saying test it in the Noko build, 25 meter range, 252% crit on Thorough Strike. It can work, but it's nothing special. But you said can work, but now it doesn't work. So you're either contradicting or not saying what you're intending to say. I'm not sure which here, Mirrorlabe, sorry. Okay, so what abilities can crit but can't be weapon modded? Because there's not a lot of them. Breach Surge? Does Breach Surge need more damage? The only way you're going to be using Breach Surge with Thorough Strike is if you're putting Thorough Strike onto Wisp. Who the hell is putting bloody Thorough Strike onto Wisp? of all frames. The enemy should be dead. Null Star, same again, it's a subsume ability. So you're going to be putting Thara Strike onto Nova? Does she need it? I'm not getting sold on these. Or put Null Star onto Styanax? It's true, you could put Null Star onto Styanax. I gotta be honest, it feels like we're scraping the bottom of the barrel on that one. But yeah. So I suppose, yeah, what would we... We could replace Axios Javelin because it's a bit of an awkward one to use. We could replace Rally Point if we just wanted to hate our energy economy. You're not putting it onto Kalervo, Jinx. No. You're not putting it onto Kalervo. If you need a crit damage buff on Kalervo via Thara Strike, you're using Kalervo wrong. Please log out of the game and go touch some grass. You're just too deep into the weeds at this point. Kalervo just looks at the enemies, goes, "You lot, you're dead." And then deadifies them. Just deads all over the place. So now, honestly, as much as it can work in places, I'm trying to think, would you really want it? Would you really want to build a critical capable ability around Thara Strike? I just don't see it. Thara Strike seems funny on Lavos? On Lavos? Why would it be funny on Lavos? Lavos doesn't crit with his abilities, so you're just using weapons, and if you're using weapons, you could be using literally anyone. Lavos also doesn't generate crit chance in any way, so again, where does the synergy come in? As again a case of, if you already were using Thara Strike, it's just a buff on what you were already getting. But if you were already using Thara Strike, then you didn't need a buff because it was already working. No. Folks are suggesting Ulfrin's Descent. So we're going to be Thara Striking a group of enemies to then Ulfrin's Descent them. Bearing in mind how well Ulfrin's Descent works within Varuna's kit, or how much you can benefit from the kit. Exactly, Mirror, yeah. If you're Thara Striking an enemy, you're already armor stripping and shield stripping them. Do you need the augment for extra crit damage? Is the enemy not already dead? And yeah, the range on Thara Strike is abysmal. It's a cone in front of you for a small distance. And so it's only those enemies in that cone. If the enemy is behind you, to the left of you, to the right of you, in the next room over that you haven't just entered yet, doesn't matter, doesn't work. As opposed to, for a little bit more energy, triple the energy, you cast Roar, and it just works. Or you cast Pillage, and with your duration, it just emits this constant effective aura. Yes. I just... In lieu of any better ideas, let's subsume on goddamn Breach Surge and see what happens here. Does it at least even interact with it in a way that matters? Just check we are on config F, some Breach Surge. Of course I need to feed the fucker. Don't really know what I'm feeding it. Just take some materials. Barely paying attention. Have that and that. Got you some of these. What even is that? And then Tech Rock Chitin, I guess. Have some of that. Thrax Plasm, who needs it? Not me, that's who. Tech Rock Motherboards. Chomp away. There you are. How about it? Right then, where was I? Yes. Infusing this. Sod it over that for the test's sake. There we are. Does damage decoy crit? I don't recall damage decoy critting. Not saying no, I just don't recall it. Alright then, we've got our Breach Surge on here. It is indeed an ability of all time. Let's see what happens, I guess.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks.
The new augments for me to be testing. No, I've decided to test augments that were released 20 years ago. These came out with the Noko update. Okay, we have two Xmas doing a whole lot of nothing. Let's Breach Surge them. Bop. Nope. Bop. Nope. Bop. Nope. Bop. Nope. Bop. 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 Wasn't this a 10% chance of doing a thing? Where's the thing? Do the thing! Have we got a can't proc Breach Surge? Oh. Well, shows how often I use Breach Surge. Never mind. Why would it not proc on Breach on Overguard? That's so dumb. Okay. Well, that's frustrating. Okay, whatever. We'll need to instead use some shuffling fragments. Just hope they have enough hit points for all this. Let's give them a lot more levels. Why shuffling fragments? They don't have a headshot. That's why. And also, they've just got health, no armor. Okay. $13,632. Doesn't happen again. No. 4926. What do you mean it's different? What do you mean what do you mean it was different? God have mercy. 13,632. Don't go up there. 13,632. Why did we get smaller numbers earlier? What's up with that? Wait, what? Body part multiplier? They're a singular arm. Shedspot, don't guess. Guessing is not allowed here. You will be insulted if you guess. Oh, it's coming from the slash proc. I didn't even notice that was happening. There we go. There it is. Okay, right. God damn you, slash procs. No one invited you. Yeah. So, 13,632 when the direct hit makes it happen. Okay. So now, we're gonna go skidonk. Hope that's not a problem. 25,967. So on the one hand, it might look like the damage has gone up, and you go, oh, it had the effect then, right, Ken? No. Unfortunately, it did not have the effect. So what's happened there is the crit damage from the weapon has increased, but it doesn't look like it's increased the crit damage of the bounding effect. Now, I did still have a crit damage mod on here, which is slightly muddying the numbers, so I'm going to remove that. Run this again without that. Just a Breach Surge to start. $6198. That's the slash block. I'll say, can you try by Tharos striking only the one you don't direct hit? First of all, it's a cone. That's going to be a pain in the ass. Second of all, we can just see about the amount of damage carrying over, because it's based on the damage we dealt to the enemy. So we don't need to do that. What do you think is going to happen? Just rechecking there. That's the number is left ahead. Yeah, 6198. And then... Bop. 18531. That's not expected. Oh wait, yeah, I've got a bunch of strength on, haven't I? Yeah, that is expected. So it's 6198 times 2.99. 18532. We had 18531. Rounding error. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. So yeah. It's improved the damage that we deal there, but not over here. The further way we can verify this is to go with something less critty on the weapon, I suppose. So if we take off that there, crit chance is going to be 40%, so it's going to be a little bit of a pain getting this to work, especially because Styanax is giving it extra crit on top. This might take a moment. We want to verify it's not the weapon crit stack, I guess, or showing that it can happen more than once. We need a non-crit hit that does that. 2068. There we go. Whereas when the ability runs out, a non-crit that was a crit. That was still a crit. That one wasn't. 2068. Yeah. That's correct, yeah. Same number with and without the Tharos effect, because it only buffs up crit damage and we were using non-crits. So despite the fact the Breach Surge was critting, it didn't actually get any benefit. So it is just on the weapon, it's not on Breach Surge. Breach Surge isn't affected. There we go. Okay, cool, right, so... that sucks, to be honest. As much as Breach Surge doesn't necessarily need more power, it just means that at least that ability isn't buffed by it. God knows how many others aren't. There's a lot of things that could theoretically, potentially, maybe, slightly, possibly work, but no. Double say, I just looked it up. In general, it doesn't work on abilities that can crit, so it has to be a weapon with crit damage buff. Well, you've got to where we got to. I'm not sure where you looked it up, though, to be honest, because it's not got any information like that on the wiki. So, where did you go, Darkwolf? Not on the wiki, it's not on the patch notes. Who are you trusting? Alright. Yeah, this is basically no value. Alright, I give up on it. Personal testing, part of what I saw from here. Darkwolf, sorry, just to be clear. I want to make sure I am reading your comments correctly, because maybe I didn't have enough sleep in the last millennium. When you say you just looked it up, what you mean is from your own testing or from watching me doing things right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but that is very much not the definition of looking it up. I feel like I'm being gaslit. Okay, so we've done Reverse Raid as well. It's a replacement of Adaptation, that's about it. We've done Theros Lethality. It's a replacement for Sanity, quite frankly. This leaves us Untimed Rift with Xaku. Gotta say, I looked at these briefly before and I was wondering what we could get out of them. I'm actually disappointed that I was on the money with just how ineffective these are proving to be so far. Untimed Rift. Vast Untime Augment creates a rift that connects two enemies suffering from void status effects within 9 meters. And it is the range that gets increased there. Doubling debuffs applied by the Vast Untime and maintaining void status. Excuse me. Okay. So let's tease this part. There's a few things happening at once here. On casting the ability, you create a rift. The rift is tied to a distance of 15 meters. That's going to be a base range. Yep, it does increase with the range stat. Okay, that's cool so far. It connects enemies which are suffering from void status effect. And the only way you can get void status effect from Xaku is from Zarta's Whisper. Because the Grasp of Luck and Vast Untime, and for that matter Deny, none of these three actually proc void status if I recall correctly. It's just Zarta's Whisper. So in that case, I mean, that's a little limited, but hey, you get void status from Companion. Okay, outside of Xaku, you can get it from Companion as well. From Companion, you can get it from what? The Bond mod that requires you to do operator things, is it? Astral Bond. Damage dealt by Operator or Drifter grants void damage to companion attacks. Yeah. Ugh. I mean, there's... Ugh. Okay. Not exactly singing at the moment, but it exists. Dark Wolf said, my bad, having a bunch of sleep due to personal issues, meant for testing purposes, both my own, what I just saw here. Okay. Fair enough, Dark Wolf. Thank you for your contribution. It's... yeah. So, Vast Untime... sorry, yeah, all these bits and pieces. You need the void status effect there on enemy for them to be targeted by the rift. They need to come within range of the rift. So you need to be casting it for in and amongst the enemies you want to be affected by it. And then it doubles the debuffs applied by the Vast Untime and maintains the void status effect. Now, void status effect, as far as it exists and matters, is an attractor bubble, which, so long as you do it correctly, can allow you to focus your shots onto the enemy, where they otherwise would have missed. But most of the time void status kind of sucks, and if you're caring about it, the enemy should be dead milliseconds after you started caring about them having a void status on them. So, not really sure I care enough about maintaining void status, because they should just be dead before it would normally run out. But let's see, the debuffs you get from this, it's a damage vulnerability and a slow effect. And I do recall reading on the wiki that some people have already been testing numbers on this. The damage vulnerability applies multiple times over multiplicatively, rather than just doubling it from 50 to 100%. So you increase the damage you deal to them yet further, which is good, I suppose. Because this doesn't normally scale with strength, or any other stat for that matter. And then the slowing effect, the slow effect is also stronger, so you need less strength to get up to the cap, which is, again, nifty. So... Okay. It's going to enhance the slow and the damage vulnerability. That's about it. And it's enhancing that within a certain area on enemies already affected by Void. I'm trying to think of the circumstances I'd care. Enemies within a modest range of where we cast Vast Untime, who we've already hit with our Void damage enough to cause Void procs, will take more damage from Void and will be slower. Yeah. Sentinel saying the best I found for this is paired with a primer to mass spread the Void status, allowing you to get the damage buff from 4 on new enemies without needing to recast. I guess I could see that, yes. If an enemy wanders into range of the effect after you've cast Vast Untime, then you're applying the damage vulnerability to them there. Wasn't there a note on the wiki about that being bugged? Bug. If the Vast Untime cast didn't originally hit the enemy, but then the enemy gets linked to the Rift after, it'll suffer an additional instance of Void vulnerability, which is additive to one of the instances that would normally occur, which leads to 200% more Void damage. Sure. Okay. Wait. Shezbot, I'm going to address this just briefly. You're not putting Tharos Strike on Frost. Please. The very suggestion is doing to my brain what Xaku is doing to their entire body in this graphic. Just obliterates and now sprinting to murder something. Didn't even know my brain could sprint. We learn something new every day. Frost doesn't need you to have it on Tharos Strike. But yeah. Plus, if you want crits on Frost, isn't... Yeah, Frost has got his own augment. Hold up. Augment, ICR, flange. No, that's the wrong one. Blah. Is it even an augment or is it built in, actually? Yeah, here we go. Biting Frost. Frost gains 200% critical chance and 200% critical damage against frozen enemies. Who even needs Tharos Strike? Who even needs Tharos Strike? How would it scale with Biting Frost? Jinx? No. Stop. This is straying into bad joke territory rather than genuine, oh, what does this work? Is this something worth investigating? Plus no. I'm trying to be a better person. Okay, so. You're not joking? Oh, right, in which case, we've already demonstrated that at best Tharos Strike is an additive bonus to existing crit damage multipliers, which means you're not going to be getting much of anything because you're now stacking it against 200% crit damage from Biting Frost, plus however much you already have on your weapon. You're not going to be achieving much of anything, to say you've also wasted your subsumability on Tharos Strike of all goddamn things, on top of then spending an augment to get this little bit of extra crit damage. The enemy should be dead. Do better. as per earlier discussion. Okay, untimed rift, faster time, blah 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 blah. Can I swap out something here? This is giving armor and health. Attack bonus, killing enemy of heavy attack, reduce enemy accuracy against Warframe for 10 seconds, grants immunity to status effects. I guess it feels weird that I have this here, but I guess there's that set bonus. It still feels a bit shit. Can I shifty things around here to give me the capacity? Yes, I can. There we go. Okay, so that's basically lost us almost nothing to say that this should be creating this untimed rift effect. So heavy melee is not really what I'd want to be doing this, but let's throw it together, see what we can get out of it. Let's just combine that with... I prefer normal epitaph. It works. Combine that with this. That's got fortifier on it as well, just to make it even shinier. Let's bring out a collection again, because that's a good kind of test for can it make a good weapon amazing. And stick with usual defensive setups. Let's give it a little bit of energy support, because Zenric is fun. We got 100% dodge chance in that build? Oh, I see. True, set mods are supposed to be bugged and broken at the moment, so even if we wanted to verify with that setup, we currently can't, can we? Alright, let's see. Where would I want to have this kind of slowing effect? And what range do I even have it across at the moment? Didn't look like I had a lot of range. 26.25 meters. You know what? Let's be ridiculously basic. Can this make Hydron passable Steel Path solo? If I put down the rifts and just proc everything with Cold Void, we can basically become a Stalker from StarCraft 2. Theoretically. So we just go bonk. There's supposed to be a rift. Oh! It spawned there, okay. So let's see, I mean, just... Wow, my eyeballs are dealing with a lot there. That's a very visible ability. In terms of the effect, though, you also be affected. I mean, if you wanted to do an interception mission, who's not affected? Who shot? I think it's just they've got enough movement in time to get through this. Anyway, thanks for the guns. So yeah, that seems to work. Is that working through walls? Hard to say, I put it in a little bit too good of a spot. Let's pop it over here. That one died. Okay, you guys. They're dying too quick, damn it. I need not dead things. Okay. It is actually affecting them through walls, even if the graphic isn't showing. Huh. Didn't expect that for a targeted ability like that. I guess it's not really that targeted. It's just a zone of now. Is it like a 99% slow? So it's 95% cap. But also we can apply cold procs on top of that. And cold procs go burr. So I can just kind of... And even... Yeah, the Xmas is rapidly affected because we just tear the overguard off of them. So this is about as easy as defense is ever gonna get. And I'm not even using all my abilities. Let's add on the armor strip. So now they die even quicker to the damage of the guns. As long as you just paint every new enemy that turns up, you basically tell them you're not allowed here anymore. And the void status stays for basically forever because of how the ability works, so they just stay super slow. Yeah, the rift targeting is based on reticle, kind of. Yeah. Let's just go for a little wander. Just gonna walk through these enemies. Oh, that's annoying. First time I've used the Galaxy in this entire mission. Now let's deal with you before you do it again. You're not the one I even wanted. Where was that Jade? There's the Jade. Hello there. Who's still alive? You still alive? There we go. Alright, that should complete the wave. Yep, there we are. Lovely. This is about the easiest I've ever had a defense where I'm not trying to defend. I'm just telling the enemies, nah, stop. And because only so many enemies spawn at once you lock them all down, you just chill. You just paint the first group of them and then you're good. It doesn't make all the status effects forever, just the Void one. But the Void one is giving them 95% slow. So, that's enough. Single tap with the Epitaph because of its extremely high status, and we're Gucci. Oh, Worm's down. That's unfortunate. Yeah, let's try and get Worm back. Thank you. Re-up that. Oh, we got a couple of them which are just outside of the armor ship range. So let's just add him to the group. Yeah. I basically can't lose. Limbo grade lazy defense. In fact, this is better than Limbo because it can't be mass nullified either. Well, I suppose Limbo also got that fixed, didn't he? Once this applies, it just sits on them for as long as it stays connected, I guess. Oh, they're dead. It's a very graceful death. Oops, that ran out. Yeah, alright then. Take it to the corpus and see how it performs there. Suppose we can. Let's give it a try.
And so we learn the importance of clarity and purpose.
I will be honest, I didn't expect it to be quite so effective in just telling a whole area no. But I think a little bit of it is spore manipulation, that you'd expect more and more enemies to just be arriving, typically. But in this case, yeah, they just kind of... We hit the spawn cap and then chill. It's not efficient. If you were being efficient at clearing the mission, this would be doing basically nothing for you. But if you're inefficient, if you can't keep on top of the enemies, then straight up, yeah, this is just... Alright, cool. We're going at our pace now. Have we got a good defense over here? Oh, we've got a bad defense over here, haven't we? Unless... Oh wait, no, this is on land, isn't it? Let's take the landed one, that's fine. I was going to say, if it's a corpus ship.
Your weapon
Yeah, this should be fine.
music, and the enemy
Just going to raid the
calls for
lockers.
song.
Why not? Okay. And we got the spawn off to the side a little bit. That's okay with me. We should be able to hold the location. So let's start just popping on these bits. Now the radius, don't know how far it's really going. Yeah, as I paint enemies, if I paint them and they're too far away, they'll just walk into range and then get turbo slowed. Oh, ability is at full on the gun stealing, so that's good. Yeah, did anyone call for some void damage? Okay, so far so good. Re-up on the timer. Okay, putting your ability on the cryopod is cheating. I do not approve. I don't think it actually affects it, but it's still a little rude. Okay. How annoying is proccing the augments with Astral Bond? I haven't tried Astral Bond in this setup so far. Don't really intend to because fuck operator mode for missions, I'll be quite honest. Do I see how nullifiers will do? I'm waiting as well. But, you know, patiently we shall have to wait. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that. There we go. Alright. So those zones will remove... Is it just armor or is it shields as well? I think it's shields as well. Yeah, it's shields as well. So that's good. Gotta watch for the one sneaking up over here, but it's all good. Not doing as great a defense here, but that's just because we got so many attack angles. That's gonna work out. I think if we had an Oberon, we'd be laughing. Stabby, stabby. Anyone still alive over here? Looks like there's one still alive somewhere. Where are you at? Oh, I probably procced them right underneath. They're moving at about 1 millimeter per year. There they are. There they are. Okay, cool. We got my ally over here, enemy over here. Very, very good. Let's start painting the next wave just to slow everything down. I don't want to paint them too far away because the cold procs will stop them from getting in range before the void runs out. Alright, we got our first nullifier. Unfortunately, I popped the bubble. Not very good of a test there because he's already dead. I suppose this strategy is very anti-nullifier, so I mean... Ooh. Wait. Does it have a duration on this? It doesn't have a duration on this, but my ability had run out and it was still there. I'm not going to recast it. I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, so we got a nullifier in effect here, and yeah. I don't know if I even got the procs on anyone. It's hard to say, but I think the nullifier was protecting them. But I was derping around there to try and see what was going on. Honestly, you just pop the nullifier bubble. You just pop it. Okay, so this ability is timed out now. That guy was just having the time of his life. So if I hit you with Void, there's the Void bubble. The Void has run out. Okay. Ah, yeah, this effect is gone. I don't know when it went, but it's gone. Hi, Angst. I need to re-steal some guns. shit. Bruh, can't be doing that to me. Why have you still got armor? That's cheating. There is an armor strip field here. Why do you have armor? Ow. This guy is taking no damage. No void, no nothing. Oh, the shields are being stripped so the armor isn't? Is that? I don't know. Can I just hit you with this? Oh shit, me. Okay, well I tried. Didn't work. It really is just not going to die to the void, is he? Well, this works. Kind of. Ah, shit, we got new enemies to deal with. Man, the damage output from this is just... I've got no stacks on the gun, so it's going to do jack shit. You teleported behind me as I cast that. There we go. One of my weapons was set up to deal with the Acolyte. Just had to figure out which one.
Very good.
Okay. Oh. So in response to the question of does it work against a corpus, yes, because your primer ideally should still pop the bubbles before the bubbles matter. And then you just walk next to them and they die. Let's take it to a higher level location. Let's see. I guess for now we can do a conjunction survival. No, that's actually, wait, no, that's no good. Survival, you don't want to be defensive. Survival, you want to be offensive. And the problem with this setup is this is a very, 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 very defense-focused setup. So the only thing otherwise of use of this, the next highest thing will be just stage defense, isn't it? Should it solo interceptions? Interceptions should be a cakewalk with it, yes. The tank? Would the tank even be affected, Mirrorlabe? I don't imagine it would be, would it?
Accept your death, and you may yet avoid it. Trust in your training.
How the hell Teshin getting signal over here? Alright then, let's get this all set up, shall we? Oh, Drifter, yep, that surprised me.
Shout out to all those freedom fighters listening on Mobile Voice Radio. I know you can hear us.
Alright. Instant damage, that's fine. Let's just start painting everything that might be a threat. Some stuff is just going to be natively out of range. Oh, didn't want that, but I guess we got a bunch of allies now. I keep forgetting to recycle it. Okay. I mean, Temple is just generating shields. Oh, need more energy? Oh shit. I popped a pizza. I needed the energy. Alright, it's not going to kill those guys because they count as allies. Yeah, that makes sense. Can these even get void procced? Huh. Yeah, looks like they're immune to void. How the hell have Skuldra made something immune to the void? I've not seen any chatter about that. That's terrifying. There's just balloons straight up immune to the void. Oh, that rift did not go where I was aiming. It just stayed up there. Let's move it over here, please. Thanks. Your service has been recognized. Perish. So yeah, that makes it a little bit weaker. Not a lot, but a little bit weaker. But the main thing is you still need to actively paint each new group of enemies. Like, I guess? But at the same time, I feel like there's other CC frames that could just do that. Without having to paint the group. But yeah, it works. With a very specific combo of applications here, using an AoE status primer, a whole bunch of void status coming out of it, and then the new augment. Yeah. Demolishers? Ooh. I mean, I don't really struggle with disruption in the first place myself, but that could be a use case. Yeah, we can give a look at that in a moment. I'm trying to keep on top of whoever still needs to be painted, but it's not like I have a mini-map marker for each of them. Come on, perish, perish, perish. Alright, you know what? You're now the armor strip for this zone. Oh, need to re-up this effect. There we go. And then just kind of stand here while the balloons get popped. There we go. There was still someone who hadn't been brought into the cult of slow. And a balloon. I love enemies that don't approach the defense target and force me to go hunt them down.
Send in a screamer.
A screamer? Oh no! Let's see, how effective is this against screamer? Whoa, no, we just got nullified. That's bad juju. I need to activate the one as well. There we go. So if I just kind of keep this on top of everything, I should be okay to deal with the Screamer as soon as they get into armor ship range. Theoretically, that should work. Come on, you're nearly there. No idea what that Jade is. Is that you that's doing this to me? Okay, it's in armor ship range, and it's dead. Cool. Mania's here. Yeah, we've already established that Acolytes resist this. Oops, didn't leave the 4 up. My bad. Let's move that to a more suitable location. And yeah, so Temple's taken a lot of damage here, but I'm probably not doing a very good job of this. There we go, just deal with that. And then it's these goddamn balloons again. Including an Eximus balloon. This thing does not want to die this century, does it? Why am I doing the defense? Welcome on into stream. Because someone suggested, hey, would this work for making stage defense easier? That's why. Alright.
A valuable lesson.
I can't say I'm particularly happy with that. The balloons only show up for the first wave? No, they don't. The Xaku Augment? Yep, that was the character we're using. So yeah, for that particular mission, just because you've got a mix of enemies which are coming in from really awkward angles to keep on top of painting, and then you got enemies which are a problem, but also sat well outside of the range. Can't say I am that impressed with the results there, but on a smaller defense tile, if you really just need to slow things down, and same with interception, yeah, that'll work for you. It's a little bit of a downside that you can only have one of these rifts up at a time, but it's still going to take one area. As long as you paint the enemies, it's good. It does mean, though, for interception's sake at least, you want to be just not killing, I guess. Because as soon as you kill the enemies, new ones are going to spawn, and that's new enemies you now need to repaint. Because if they're not void procced, it doesn't work. So yeah. I think, oh, the rest of that is just responses. From some, also been announced, maybe same things already observed. What did you say? I think Xaku 2 builds are better off not bothering with the augments, since 1 benefits 2 builds, basically not at all. I mean, this isn't a 2-based build. I was just kind of sitting back and letting the 2 handle it, because it was handling the damage quite well up to that point. But the balloons are their own thing. Because yeah, you can go with a range killer, but my range killer setup uses silence, so that loses out on the ability to utilize void in the first place, unless you use operator, which I'm not using the operator for damage. Mobile denial is an even higher range build again. Oh, no, actually it's lower than range killer. But again, you need to find somewhere to swap in natural talents, I guess. Mobile denial isn't really designed for something to sit around wherever you cast your 4. Golden Goblin is clearly not made for it. Slow doesn't need to get to this amount of strength for the full slow anymore, I suppose. You can replace Precision Intensify. Otherwise, slow is mostly just a worse version of my heavy melee build by the looks of the stats. Yeah. Ultimately, I'm more impressed with the effects than I thought I would be. But its use case, as far as I can tell, is basically just, okay, are you struggling, like genuinely struggling with a defense or interception mission? Okay. The enemies aren't infinite, so you can just paint all of them, and then the mission stops. That's as good as I can seem to give it as a use case. You just paint the enemies so hard that the mission simply can't spawn threats anymore, and then you take them out at your pace. Because for every one enemy you kill, another one will spawn, and then you just paint that one. That's a pretty shitty use case, not gonna lie. That requires you to be really, really in a bad position for handling a mission. And usually at that point, the suggestion would be get a better frame, get a better setup, or just get a better squad.
You have excellent taste.
Yo!
My tea is all gone again and nobody else is home, so I have to go downstairs and get my tea myself again. Smile.
Miralabe, thank you very much for the £10 tip. You know, I'm going to return a tip to you, Miralabe, in response to that tip. Have you considered getting a teapot? It sounds like you go through a fair amount of tea, like myself. I would do if I wasn't on stream all the time. So just have a teapot. Once you've brewed up the first mug of tea, you can take the tea bags out, and then you just have the rest of the tea there in the teapot under a tea cozy. A thermos also works AE gear, but teapots are more thematic. And yeah, going back to the point, who was it who just said it? Yeah, from Cat Centaur. The whole, oh, you could just stop all of the enemies and then just get on with the mission. You're very right, yeah. You can also do that with Accuse, which just takes a whole bunch of enemies and says, you're on my team now. And if anything, that's even better. Not only because you're not using an Augment for it, but because the enemies join your side, the minimap updates. So with the minimap updated, you can just hunt the red dots. Perhaps even better than Untimed Rift. Now do note, this was also giving a significant void damage bonus. Because Vast Untime, it's got a base 50%, you can't increase that through strength or anything. Untimed Rift is reapplying that to 125%, and apparently is bugged to 200% on enemies that become part of the effect. Yeah. Toriel saying, so in which situation would you choose this build instead of a Nova? Skeleton go burr, guns, auto fire, haha, funny moments? I guess? Does this freeze Xmas or is it worse than Limbo's Cataclysm Stasis combo? Xmas don't get frozen by Limbo or by this, but with this you should be painting Xmas with cold procs and very quickly removing their overguard anyway. But even then it's still just a bit... yeah. All told, I'll be quite honest, Untimed Rift doesn't really feel like it does enough to matter. Void does bonus damage to Overguard. There is also that, yes. So you'll get plenty of damage on the Overguard, so you can kill them kill the Overguard quicker and then they're affected. So it does have that benefit. Although if you need that on Nova, you can subsume Zarta's Whisper. But yeah. Zom, please do not use your face to break things. You have enough difficulties in your life, Zom. Face pain does not need to be one of them. Certainly from what you described, more face pain does not need to be one of those issues. So how would we summarize these augments then? There were 4 augments added. If I just go over here and go Augments tab, sort by recent, it should put them at the front. Oh, look at that, that's beautiful. So how would I describe these augments? We've got Lavos Augment. Could really do with mentioning the fact that it gets to reapply the effect, albeit at 25% effectiveness. Not a great use case, but it can be used to make the full caster setup that I put out the build guide for a little bit more reliable. So you can swap it. I think I was swapping out some of the efficiency for that. It just makes it where if you screw up the cooldown cycle, this fixes it for you a lot of the time. Reverse Rotor Swell, if you're using Adaptation on Gyre, replace Adaptation with this. If you're not using Adaptation on Gyre, this is useless. Because if you're going to be tanking on Gyre, you would already be using Adaptation. And this is basically going to give you Adaptation without waiting for it to stack up. Roughly. Tharos Lethality, 0 use case. Genuinely 0 use case. If you're using Tharos Strike already, then the enemies you targeted with it should be weak enough that they just die. You don't need some additive crit damage at that point. So, unless you are just... look at your build going, wow, I've got all these empty mod slots and nothing left to put in them, I haven't got it for you. And then lastly, Untimed Rift. Cool if you want to really paint Hydron and slow it to a crawl. But basically you could just be using Accuse. And that would just do the same effect, except it also shows on the minimap which enemies are affected. Which is just easier for navigating who you've got to still focus on. Yeah. It buffs up the damage of you 2 as well, so I guess more damage on the 2 which is, I mean, for an augment, the amount of damage increase it gives you from 150% on previously affected enemies to up to bugged 200% on, sorry, 300% on all enemies painted. So that's what? Yeah, double damage, and you don't need to recast your 4 for it as much. Not terrible. It just feels a bit unimaginative. Yeah. Friendly Philco, I guess, or Friendlifco. Double augment 4 and Aegis would still be good. The double augment. Sorry, I'm not processing that one. Tharos Lethality makes spear gun go burr because there are other ways to do that. Does it really make spear guns go burr? Like, yeah, okay, if you've got a whole bunch of strength, you can go 400, 500, 600% if you're going for a hell of a lot of strength. 600% extra critical damage alongside your modding. That's going to completely outscale your modding. Fair enough. There's a whole bunch there. But spear guns suck. Spear guns really do just suck. So if you can bring them up enough that they're getting somewhere, cool, but... Yeah, it works with spear guns, but it doesn't make them cool. Let's say 2 doesn't need damage help. Fine off people just skipping casting gauge. Doesn't need much help versus normal enemies. Won't be good enough versus attenuated enemies. Yeah, attenuation did kind of screw it over there, didn't it? Xaku's 2 just did nothing to those acolytes. It's great. Friendly saying the free headshot spear gun does well and Ferox. The free headshot one. So you're using it to not deal damage. Just so I understand, Friendly, your explanation for why we should be happy is there is a spear gun that we use for not dealing damage. I must be missing something in your comments here. Not the strongest match of augments. Like, when you consider we've had augment drops like Swift Bite and Valence Formation. When you consider augments like Biting Frost. Hell, we could just look at some of the other recent augments in that listing there. These aren't actually recent, they just redid Oberon, so I guess they're popped back to the front now. But Hallowed Eruption gives it something new and functional. They reworked some of these as well to give them alternative values to them. Warding Thorrible, we can see the value in that. Yeah. Loyal Marina completely changes the nature of the ability. That's a big damn deal. Yeah. There's a lot. Let's go just okay DPS weapon. It's okay. Okay is the stress of the word there. Yeah. Alright. We've looked at those augments to death. I'll be quite honest. Having looked at all 4 technically now. Having looked at all 4 of those augments, I'm not going to do a video on any of them. Like, seriously. It would be a waste of your time. It would be a waste of my time to have a video covering any of them, because I don't like it when a video comes out and just spends 10-15 minutes to go, this sucks. There are use cases, they're niche. I don't want you coming away from a video going, wow, that was depressing. If you want that, go watch the news. When I make a short on it, it wouldn't really go anywhere, Crimpy. The thing with shorts is that if I put out a short and it goes out to like 10,000 people, and they go, oh wow, yeah, that does suck, then that's about as far as the short goes. Because a lot of people will get onto the short, go, new woman, Xaku, who cares? Swipe. And that does all of nothing. Whereas the shorts that actually get somewhere are the shorts that engage and interest people, quite honestly. So yeah, I only really use YouTube Shorts for if I've got a silly, literally short idea that isn't worth being in a full video, but I think it's still worth showing the community. No, that's about it, actually. That's what I use Shorts for, because I'm not primarily a short-form creator. So I did the shorts on the Grattler test clip from stream, short on killing Sergeant with Avara in a way that some people still think I'll get banned for some reason. Defense mission with Banshee, the joke about the Fenmore, the silliness with the Coda, was it base assist, and matching it up to Daft Punk. The silliness of saying Doughty. Yeah, that's what I use shorts for. The Avara one is amusing? It was. And that's why it did well. For anyone who's not looked behind the scenes, it's not even really that far behind the scenes, but anyone who's not noticed the difference, the short on pronouncing the Fenmore wrong is 368,000 views. The short on the Coda base assist and matching up to Daft Punk, 400,000 views. The short on killing the Sergeant with basically wall hacks, 1.5 million views. Saying Doughty wrong, 76,000 views. Testing the Grattler and it's pissing around, 162,000 views. They're just not in the same ballpark. The Banshee one, which did link into the video it was from, 93,000 views. There is night and day difference between a short that is easy to enjoy and a short that's trying to teach people things. It also concerns me the number of people that watch the Fenmore video and don't understand it. And that... I thought it was pretty obvious that it was a joke. I genuinely thought it was obvious as fuck from like the second word in that I was just completely having you on. And there are people who take it seriously or are like, why didn't you say the word at the end? Why didn't you pronounce it? Like, and then the one that has put it over the edge for me, I'm going to bring this one up. I feel bad for this person. But it also kind of slightly broke me. Where is it? Here we go. No. Yeah. So on the short on how to correctly pronounce the Fenmore, it's a joke. I've seen a few of these. I'm a new player. I don't get the meme. Number one, welcome to Warframe, I suppose. Number two, they've seen a few of them. I didn't realize there are enough copycats out there seeing my short and going, I can do that, to have someone then end up at my short having already seen a few of them. That's equal parts impressive and sad. Whatever. I have seen one of those copycats pop up on my feed before now. But whatever. Not judging them all, just the one that I saw. But then, that last bit, I don't get the meme. I want to be nice about this. I want to be nice about this. And I did explain to them, yeah, they said they've seen a few, you've been pronouncing the weapon incorrectly, and then some random words representing each letter. They don't get it. Is there a joke or are they just an idiot? So I just explained the joke to them. I just outright explained it. I'm like, how is it difficult to appreciate the meme? The joke. Not the meme, per se, the actual just joke that is... every letter's silent. Yeah. Mirrorlave, thank you for gifting the sub over to Solomir. Much appreciated on that. Much appreciated. I can make a 40-minute video of the Fenmore short for April's Fools. I think I'll pass on that one. I think I'll pass. But yeah, I am reminded now what I actually came across with regards to one of the copycats, the only other copycat I've seen. What they did was, rather than use silent letters, which makes for a very, to my perspective, very obvious joke, they just used an odd pronunciation for each letter. Doing the whole fish is pronounced, sorry, goatee is pronounced fish. And it's like, the joke isn't to pronounce it wrong. The joke was successfully finding a silent version of every single letter. A silent P, a silent H, silent E, silent N, silent M, silent O, silent R. Like, you have to acknowledge, that's not easy to find. I had to switch accents to make it work. That's the joke. But that someone ends up on the video and it's like, I don't get it. I hope they never find this stream, because there's nothing positive to say on that. Alright. Having looked at all the augments, I'll be quite honest with you, I was hoping there was going to be more with the Styanax one. I was hoping I was going to go, oh wait, look, this works with this feature, this multiplies in this way, it's actually got a whole bunch of power, now we could do some fun things that'll take up more time. I genuinely didn't think I'd get through 3 augments in one stream. I'll be very honest with y'all. When was the last time I managed to go through all of something on time? I get distracted to all hell and back. It's kind of part of my thing. Distracted. So, we're going to do our favourite backup plan. We're going to crack some relics. If you'd like to join me on some relic cracking, send me a message in game. The Kengineer, I'll bring you on into the squad and we will bash those out. Let's get some streamer luck in to round it off, shall we? Wow, you guys are waiting on that. Come on in. Come on in. And come on in. There we go. Squad's full. Easy. So I say they're all straightforward, impossible. Well, they weren't quite straightforward. It's more just there was nothing really left to do with them. There's nothing to make them interesting. Nothing to go into a mission for 20 minutes ago. No fierce cackling. I think that's like really, you know, the measure of how good an augment is how much does it make me cackle like a maniac. I think that's the first time I've cackled today. A demonstrative cackle. That ain't good. That ain't good. We're not going to do the Spy Fisher as much as I'd like to do the Spy Fisher. It's a bad Spy Fisher, so we're not going to do that. We could do this. Do I have any well-refined... Oh, I don't. Okay, let's go for relics I don't have many of. They'll probably be more valuable. Mesa Prime Systems. That sounds valuable. Let's run it. No weird bugs to make me tear my hair out. We had to look into a couple things, but bugginess, not really, no. It just the augments don't do enough to bug, really. The Lavos one was confusing for a bit. That one took a while to figure out. But yeah. Has there been a precedent in the past where augments were incorporated into the base kit? Yes, with Grendel during a rework. It is very rare that augments get incorporated into base kit. Very rare.
Your target is the reactor.
Their rage is vehement, their
Alright, let's go.
impressive. Give them all warriors death.
Let's go obliterate something, shall we? And Archery what got the treatment too? Yeah, so basically if a Warframe gets reworked, it's probably because the Warframe sucked, and the first port of call of a rework is going, okay, well, people are using these augments to make it where the frame doesn't suck so much, so let's just give you augments. It's a pretty easy starting point from D's perspective to just kind of make improvements. But outside of that, you're not really going to find a lot, I guess. Oh, that was a satisfyingly long dash. Asian? Hello? Is everything okay? You appear to have left the squad.
That's it. Now get out of here.
There's no way we'll be able to get you back into squad. I mean, I can try, but... yeah, no. Thank you, whoever opened the door. Saved me the hassle. This is a long extraction. To say it's basically in, press panel, out, it's not short. But because it's a Steel Path Fisher, my frame buff is still going. Ta-da! Do I think Nova Subsume is a good option for Gyre survivability? Do I want to farm Thermia Fishes for Hildrin? I understand you don't want to farm Thermia Fishes for Hildrin. You could always partner up with someone else having done it for you, or just buy the frame outright. But otherwise, you can use it, but I don't know it's going to be as effective as you're hoping there. Part of the value for Gyre is not just on having the shield restoration, it's the shield gate, so it gives you just scaling, and it also is a defense strip on the enemies, which allows you to apply your even more damage to them. You get more value out of your abilities, because enemies just don't have the defenses. When it hits shields, it counts as damage, which also can trigger further bits. So Pillage is just a broadly very good choice for Gyre. Stream just froze, it host migrated me. Alright, it wasn't my stream. You lost connection to the internet. Fair enough. Welcome back. There we go. Alrighty, where was what we just did? It's over here. Right then. Do we have enough of those? Yes, we do. Let's try again with that Mesa piece. How many runs did it take to farm Hildren usually? So considering you can get the blueprints from the circuit, you can do it in just 3 runs with a resource booster. Otherwise, it's got standard drop rates from Assassination Style, I believe. I'm just going to normal check now, having said it. Hildren. Yeah, standard drop rates. So it takes typically 4 runs to get the full set of blueprints. If you've not got a resource booster, you still need to do 6 runs anyway to get the materials. Because I don't think you can get the materials any other way. So yeah, resource booster, 3 runs of Exploiter Orb. And whilst you're at it, you don't need to be doing the Thermia Fractures if someone else has already farmed them. Because only one person needs to have it and spend it. But I can absolutely understand the pain of not wanting to go through that. I can really understand it. You didn't know that part? Yeah, it's not well advertised. It's not well advertised. Warframe and failing to explain something? Perish the thought, you know? Game's very complicated. You want some Amalgam mods at some point? It's just so mind-numbing. I get that as well. Fun fact, I also haven't finished the Thermias. Fractures. I got the weapon from Barrow. So, if you look at Thermia Fractures and you are distraught with the idea of doing them, yeah, you are very much not alone. Did I test the Arbicep? Yes, I did. You'll be seeing a video on that in the next day or two over on YouTube. I'd like to get it finished tomorrow, but I also know what I'm like, unfortunately. I also know what I'm like, so I'd like to get it done tomorrow. We shall see. Yeah. You do think the exploited bounty requires each player to have Thermia? Yeah. Maybe the bounty does, but yeah, you don't need to start the... Oh, Mesa Piece. You don't need to do the bounty to just do the kill. How much is this Mesa thing we just got? Let's have a quick ganderinos. Warframe market is currently under maintenance. No! Also, very glad I did not open that up on the main screen here, because it popped up with web server is down. Here is your IP address. Dear websites everywhere, don't do that. If I need to know my IP address, I will look it up. You overlay said it's about 19 plat? That's nice. That is nice. It's okay, everyone has an IP? Yeah, but you know, still don't really want to just hand out my IP address. There's always malicious actors. Not make it any easier for them. I mean, I'm not going to be upset at Warframe market going down at the moment, because if I go to paizo.com, let's see, under construction, we're in the process of bringing you a new store. Until then, find us on social media. I think it's been like that for 5 days. If I just check the Starfinder subreddit, I think they posted there, 6 days. Yep. It was Monday, nearly 5 PM my time. The website was supposedly taken down, according to the post there. So it's going to be an entire week it's been offline because they've been having issues with getting the new store online. And yeah, I agree here. Like, the Paizo website needed an overhaul. My god, it was... it showed its age. It's the nicest way of putting it. It showed its age. But the fact that it's been down for a week is another level of oof, I'll be quite honest. Down for a week this close to the holiday season, with new products coming out. Oof. I'm sure we'll be fine when it's back up again. Adding to that hilarity is I did see a post from Warframe advertising the Warframe crossover with Starfinder, the Operation Arias, and it doesn't work if the shop to buy it from is offline.
Your target is the reactor.
Black Friday at the end of the month? Hey, that's fine, because Black Friday hasn't happened yet, if that's what you're telling me. But, you notice how much I keep up with Black Friday. But it's more just, you know, if a product is not available because the shop is down, maybe not the best time to advertise the product. Just saying. That's fine. Technology is difficult. It can break in ways we didn't even know existed. Some of the breaks we have seen over time in Warframe, on this stream, just in general, are astounding. And it's just what happens. Sometimes you can only find out things break when you try to use them. And that's when all shit hits the fan and overtime on contracts starts getting utilized. partners at home get very disappointed very quickly. What can you do? Yeah. You say sometimes companies don't figure out a replacement in time. Your provider effectively pulls the rug from under them. That's always nasty. Yeah.
Target destroyed. Proceed to the extraction.
In this case, it was planned, as far as I can tell from Paizo's side. It's not they had a rug pull go on. But at the very least, whatever they plan to implement, I guess it's one of those, it worked on my PC circumstances, where the actual server did not want to take whatever their upgrade was supposed to be, or something that was supposed to connect didn't connect. Things just break. Ever tried Vile Rush on Hildren to fly faster? I don't play enough Hildren to have considered it, but I did see another streamer use it, yeah. It's inventive. Speaking of Hildren, let's get my 10th Hildren Prime chassis. It's excessive, but we'll just have more.
As you conquer the foe, so you conquer yourself.
There we go. And we run again. Let's see. Any more shinies for us on this stream? We could get at least a few in, I'm sure. I was going for Grendel Blueprint. You're out of Nitane and credits? Ooh. Yeah, Kabu, there is no good answers on that one. Oh god, I'm fine. All you can do is try to get to more creds. And if you can't get to more creds, wait. Just wait. It's not worth farming. It is really not worth farming. Happy Hour, I did see someone using Vile Rush with Hildren's 4 and it was working. I know it feels like it shouldn't work, but it does. Vile Rush doesn't actually slam you to the ground, by the way. It just stops you from hovering. That's different to Ophidian Bite, which slams you to the ground. Here, let me do a quick demo here. If I do this and then Ophidian Bite, you see how it pulls me down? And now we'll do this. And I fall with normal gravity rather than being thrown at the ground. So that is the difference there. Damn, need to go around for that. So yeah. There are a few abilities which actively throw you at the ground. This just isn't one of them. Leads me to wonder, if I do hold aim glide, will that do anything for me here? No. Holding aim glide did nothing for me there. It just forcibly says no to that.
That's it. Now get out of here.
This is such a solo mission, isn't it? You run through, open a console, and blow up a few very, very, very vulnerable things. If there weren't enemies to kill, because we need reactant, you could quite literally just zoom in, pop it, zoom out. And your allies trundling behind you will be wondering why they even joined the mission. What the hell did that hit? There we are. Oh, nailed that. This one of the earlier mission types in the game, right? I mean, we're on Neptune, but sure. I'm gonna be really weird and take the Fulman piece, because I don't actually have any Fulman Prime barrels, so I sold it. Let's just grab that.
Very good.
Now, let me just remind myself, what is the farm for Nitane if you're really, really in a bind. Let's see here. So... oh no. Ghoul Purge bounties, which are only during the Ghoul Purge event. So that's not really something you can do. There's a 2% drop rate from all of the resource caches on the Kuva Fortress Exterminate, or on Tier 3 Sabotage, which is Rusalka on Sedna and Cyprus on Pluto. Or the Void Sabotage caches, again, 2% for finding all 3, Stribog on the Void. The caches on Lure Exterminate drops down to 1.29%. The Tier 4 Void Sabotage, it drops down to 1.01%. Why it drops down, I don't know, but it drops down. For the Jupiter Exterminate caches, it's 1% flat on Cache C. And then for Tier 2 and Tier 1 Reactor Sabotage, it's 1% and 0.67%. It also drops from the Zealoid Prelate, 0.129% of the time. What's even the point of adding it to the drop table at that point? Who the hell is going to run the Zealoid Prelate 775 times per Nitane? Who? When one Nitane is worth 3 Nightwave creds, because you get 5 per 15. Good fucking god. I mean, even at the higher end of the chances for something that's always available, if you do the Tier 3 Reactor Sabotage, so that is Rusalka or Suppress on Sedna or Pluto, you're just doing Reactor Sabotage, you find all 3 caches, even if you get that down to some magical time of like 3 minutes, you have to do it 50 times per Nitane on average, which is 150 minutes per Nitane. You can farm a whole Warframe or Incarnate in that time. That's not even remotely close to reasonable. That's not farmable. And that's if you get it on the average stuff. If you're unlucky, which let's face it, you're in the position where you need to farm Nitane, you're probably an unlucky person, it just gets worse. When I open up the Warframe and Companions blueprint list for things that take Nitane, the cheapest is 2. For weapons, the cheapest is 2. Which means that even if you do farm these things and get one of them, you're not even done. You need 2, minimum, for almost any blueprint of significance. That's horrifying. You need 5 for the Proboscis Cernos. So if you somehow got the Reactor Sabotage down to 3 minutes per run, and you had perfectly average luck, so it took you 50 runs per drop, you would need 250 runs for 750 minutes, which is what? 12.5 hours. 12.5 hours. If you somehow find every crash in 3 minutes on average. Meanwhile, you could spend 245 platinum. So if you find yourself in a position where you have to get it before you can wait for Nightwave to give you the Nitane, spend the plat. Which is a horrible suggestion, but it basically makes it an event item.
Now you might be wondering if I'm holding.
But yeah, at least 5 Nitane isn't that hard to get. When it comes to these, you've got... like, if you haven't already got that one, you can easily get to it. If you have got that one, you'll probably be up to this one. Maybe, I don't even know how long it's been here. Maybe you could go all the way up to there. They're every few waves. You could pick up another set of 50 creds. And 50 creds What is this sorting? And 50 creds will get you 45 Nitane. You're gonna be fine. Once you got that 45, you are absolutely swimming in it. You'll be fine for a while on that. If I have a look at the cost to build everything, according to the wiki, for all Warframe and companions, if I'm reading this correctly, it takes 160 Nitane. And that's including if you get some stuff for helmets. And then weapons adds on another 57. And then cosmetics we don't care about. Consumables we don't care about. Research, sort it with your allies. So all told... Let's see, that'll give you... Yeah, that gives you 30... Oh, you're going to need a bunch, yeah. I could right now buy 65, which, yeah... It does kind of stack up, doesn't it? How much of that is just from Vauban? A bunch. Vauban chassis, 5. Vauban Prime chassis, 5. Vauban Prime New Optics, 5. Vauban Prime Systems, 5. Vauban Prime himself, 5. Yeah, 20 in total. Menacing requirement. And I happen to have an inbox message. It is from Miralabe. What is it, Miralabe? Why? I'm sorry, Miralabe. We're at the point where I can just look at this and go, why? Wrong person. Having seen someone in the chat saying they are farming Nitane, or at the point of deciding if they can farm Nitane to get this, and this is what you do to them. This is cruelty. You've just seen a homeless guy on the street complaining about where he's going to get his next meal, and you're going, oh, that's cool. Hey, one burger, please, and then chucks it at my face. Bruh. That one is just oof right there. Doing it to me with the Arbacep and no-go? Yeah, sure, but that... Ouch. Right. Where are we going to go? Proboscis Sonus is an interesting bow? It is. It is. People getting the idea I'm saying it's a bad bow. I didn't say any of those words until just now as a reference for what I didn't say. Don't look in the next... I'm timing out Miralabe. Not even kidding. You're intentionally hurting people with that one. You're getting timed out for a minute. Bad. Bad Miralabe. Let's go rescue some sanity. Out of refined relics. Clearly I've been doing too much of that recently. So let's upgrade a relic for some Lavos. Yep, there we are. High Troller Bundle. Too right. Why does that exist? It's very old, Cat Centaur. It is very old. The fact that they haven't overhauled it since then is kind of bonkers. The fact they haven't removed it is kind of bonkers. I guess people still occasionally buy it for the memes, and meme makes money. So I guess there's that. It's still wild. Oh, hi. Anyone need an Oracle cell? This one apparently dropped a health orb. Something was wrong with your chat, was it, Berlabe? There's something wrong with who you're sending your gifts to. Alright, Moon, you take care. Thanks for dropping by.
We can't leave without rescuing a prisoner. Keep searching.
Keep searching. I wonder where they're going to be. Are they going to be in this direction? Are they going to be in this direction? It's such a search. Queen, did you miss what happened, or are you just begging? I can't quite tell. Oh, I found Oracle cells in a locker. That's unusual. I don't even know why I opened that locker, but I could just smell the Oracle cells. I also screwed up that jump. Let's try that again. I'd shoot the beam, but it's in the ceiling. Kind of a flaw in that design. I realized we're on a reactor sabotage. I refuse to find the caches because I don't want us to find Litane. Oh wait, no, it's not a sabotage, it's a rescue. Why did I think this was sabotage for a moment? What the hell was wrong with me? I think I need more tea. How did I forget we were on a rescue? Alright. Let's just get us out of here. I know, Kabu. I know. Mirrorlab likes their silly moments. This is a silly moment at the expense of a viewer rather than a streamer. Ooh, it's not quite the same. Yeah. I'm sure Mirrorlab understands now. Hey, we do get another gold. Of course it's the Lavos one. Of course the Lavos main can get the Lavos Prime systems. That's how it works. You know it. You know it. There we go.
And so we learn the importance of clarity and purpose.
I mean, we do understand purpose. My purpose is Lavos Prime, evidently. Easy peasy. Which, based on the fact that I have another one of the... Oh, we just left the operative behind. I just saw them at the end there, just looking through the gap like... Mom? Gods. Alright, yeah. But hey, third Lavo piece. Third time getting a Lavo piece. Lovely. So, Eliu, Ashen, thank you very much for joining in on the mission here. Hope you've had yourself some good results. Mirrorlab? Yes. Yes. Anyway, I think it's about time we do a 75 plat giveaway. Oh, yes indeed. Let me just get the bits and pieces up. One moment on that. Let's kill the out-of-game music. Alright then, for 175 plat giveaway. Let's set that drawer up and open it. There we are. Now, this should be all working, so we just need you to type !enter if you'd like a chance to win 75 platinum. I'm going to move my camera out of the way a moment. There we go. !enter in the chat for a chance to win that 75 plat right there. We're giving you all a moment on that to join on in. I don't have a soundboard set up for this No Solomir, but I'm glad you found a game that decided to do it for me. That works. Yep. You want to see your frame, Queen? As long as you've actually set it up, it'll work. Did you set it up? That sense you want to hide behind my camera? Not allowed, sorry. I gotta move out of the way. There we go, Queen. Yeah, I do see your frame up on there, up the top. We got a lovely array of fashions in here now, haven't we? Of a variety of styles and, yeah. What was this giveaway for again? For 75 platinum. So exclamation mark enter if you'd like a chance to win 75 plat. This plat is provided by DE, so we'll be handing it out in batches. Next batch is due, I think... I forget exactly when the next batch is due, I'll be quite honest with you. It's always within 2 weeks. Always within 2 weeks. And Grumpy Pants, thanks for hydrate. How do you link up your frames? It's not a link up. You can pick a fashion which has been submitted, so you can use exclamation mark avatar to see what fashions are available. Do bear in mind that whilst you can have a look through all of them at any time with exclamation mark avatar, in order to actually utilize it, you do need to be a VIP or subscriber. VIP or subscriber is required to change up your appearance to the custom ones. But if you are a VIP or subscriber, go right ahead, exclamation mark pick frame, and the name of the avatar you wish to use. You can, as I say, see all of the avatars there in exclamation mark avatar link. Pay to slay? I mean, yeah, I put effort into making the program. If you want the cosmetic skins, you support the creator of the program, or support QTCC. A lot of the ones you see here are from people who supported the charity drive as well. So it is pay or donate, one of the two. Do I know what a s'more is? I'm vaguely aware of the idea of a s'more, yes. Vaguely aware. I'm glad you're just joking, Toshi. And with that in mind, let's do our draw now. Let's see who is... Oh, well done, Squirbo. You got in just at the last moment there. Now let's do our draw. Well timed, Squirbo. Well timed. Alright then. 40 entrants means 39 of you are going to be obliterated by the boss here. Only one of you is going to be the winner. Who is it going to be this time? It's not going to be Flo. It's not going to be Reese. It's not going to be Grumpy Pants. It's not going to be I Can't Sleep. It's not going to be A-Gear. Who is it then? It's actually... Hey! It's Kabu! Well, would you look at that, Kabu?
Excellent work.
That can be coming your way. Could be coming your way because we do need to have your details. So, Kabu, please use exclamation mark IGN followed by your Warframe username and platform so we know exactly where to send that over to. Absolutely on that. Let's bring my cam back on the screen. There we go. You were the last one to die? It just goes like that, doesn't it? Someone's got to be the last one to fall. And in this case, the one after you. That's our winner, Kabu. So yeah, exclamation mark IGN in the chat, please, there, Kabu. And in the same message, we need your details there. You've done it perfectly. Excellent. All right, we got that on record. That'll be in your inbox within the next 2 weeks there. You can look forward to that coming straight from DE. And now, everyone, that is where we're going to have to wrap it up for the day. But don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to be raiding on out of here to another part of the Warframe community. Let's have a looky-loo and see who is alive that we can go say hello to. Someone somewhere in the Warframe category is worth dropping in on. Let's have a look here. There's a few people having a good old session with each other. I'll leave them to it. It's a full squad of 4, in fact, doing that. That's fair enough. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Been to Gaz recently. Not actually sure. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of people using the collaboration tool today. Is there some bonus incentive going out? I almost never see people using Twitch's attempts at a collaboration tool. And I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 streams. All connected up in separate groups. Interesting. But no, we need somewhere we can raid on over to. That will be a good experience to raid into, hopefully, maybe. Oh, is Raging Terror actually on Warframe at the moment? They are. Ah, perfect. Splendid. That's where we can go. Raid is... set up. There we are then. That's all on that. That's good to go. Alright then, that's where we're going to wrap it up, everyone. Thank you very much for joining in today. I will see you in the next one when I go live on Wednesday, but in the meantime, have a good start to your week, and be on your absolute best. See you then. Bye-bye.